the first 2 decades of franchising was nothing but fast food because people were like, oh, franchising is about fast food. So let's do chicken, let's do sandwiches. There's almost every type of food franchise, but it expanded to almost every other category. Now, what's beautiful about franchising in the modern term is that I have nearly 1,000 businesses in my portfolio across every category, from fitness to healthcare to senior care, pet care, children's enrichment, education, home improvement, property like improvement, like roofing, painting, custom closets, everything you can think of.
It's time to reinvent.
Welcome to Lessons of Entrepreneurship, the journey of reinvention. I have an exciting guest for you today, Irving Chung, founder and CEO of FranGuidance. Irving, I know that this topic, all entrepreneurs want to know about this, about franchises. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your mission.
Absolutely. I started in this 7 years ago. And what led me there was just frustration with my corporate career. Like most people, went to college, got a job, climbed the ladder. And in fact, I loved my corporate career. I was in corporate marketing. I produced big commercials with celebrities and had multi-million-dollar productions, traveled the world. But like I say to most people, corporate's great until it's not. I just got burned out, tired of the long hours, tired of measly raises. After about 25 years, I thought I'd be farther ahead, both financially, career-wise. It really wasn't delivering that dream that we all have about being in a corporate company. I was tired. I was burned out. I wasn't making it financially. And I'm like, there has to be a better way. And so I've always wanted to own a business. And I said, if I owned a business and put 50 hours of work into my own business, I'd probably be a lot more wealthy. But I didn't know what business to start. So I investigated franchising. A friend of mine told me about franchising. It was like, hey, if you want to own your own business, you should consider a franchise. And I'm like, oh, okay. I started exploring franchising. What I discovered was amazing. Franchising is an ideal business model for anyone who wants to own their business, but has absolutely no experience whatsoever in business ownership. And even more, you can get into any business you want without having any experience in that particular vertical. For example, I ended up choosing and buying 7 years ago an indoor cycling studio. And I chose indoor cycling because I have a passion for fitness, helping other people make positive change. I love cycling. It's my favorite sport. It's also because it's a recurring revenue stream. It's membership based. That means that once I built up my membership, it becomes a recurring monthly revenue, very predictable. And it's also designed to be what's called semi-absentee, which means that it's primarily a manager-run business. There's no part of running this business that literally involves me being there to operate it. I have instructors that teach the class. They're younger than me and more fit than I am. I have front desk staff. They're mostly high school, college kids. They make a lot less than I would make. There's really not a role for me. And I have a manager who pretty much runs the operation. Make sure the studio's clean, make sure employees show up, make sure that everything is operating. Those are the 3 reasons I chose it. And it's been phenomenal. 6 months after I launched my own marketing consulting business, which was really my end goal or my starting goal, I wanted to own a franchise to generate recurring revenue that was predictable. I had the freedom to do consulting work, which is less predictable, but something that's in my strength and skill set. And so I launched a marketing consulting business. Shortly after, I expanded it to include franchise consulting because a lot of people I was consulting with were entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people looking to grow and expand their business. It was a natural fit, marketing consulting, franchise consulting. So I view my mission as paying it forward, helping other people learn about franchising, which was brand new to me. It was life-changing for me. And I just enjoy educating people to help them understand what opportunities they can pursue to really change their professional career track towards business ownership.
Typically, we think franchise and we think fast food.
Yes.
Walking around looking at McDonald's and looking at KFC and thinking,
That's
wow,
right.
who's opening up the new KFC down the
Yeah.
street? There are all these assumptions. So
Yes,
since I have you here, Irving, and you can really speak to what is true, what is not true, what should a person know if
absolutely.
they're thinking about this? Let's start with how does a franchise work?
Funny that you mentioned McDonald's because 99% of people I talk to, first thing they think of when they hear the word franchise is McDonald's. And then, yeah, like you said, other fast food, Subways, 7-Eleven, Chick-fil-A. And so there are a couple of misperceptions. Let me start about how franchising operates and works. We can even use McDonald's as an example. They are the grandfather of franchising. They pretty much started franchising. And what it was, they came up with a fantastic business model, a way to make money. It was good hamburgers, not great hamburgers, but they were designed to be good hamburgers that were done very efficiently and generated lots of revenue with the multiple products that they offered: milkshakes, French fries, hamburgers. Generally, franchising is based on a successful business model that has proven itself. And then they put together the operational structure to allow someone to replicate what they've created with instruction and operating procedures in their market. So basically, it's a proven model that you would learn to operate and function. And in theory, if you operate it the way it's taught, you should replicate at the very least the revenue that was generated by the original model. Every franchise started with a successful first store. A lot of times someone will have launched a business and maybe even grew it to 5 or 10 stores and said, hey, if I share, using the McDonald's terminology, the secret sauce, and I share with you the secrets to how to launch and operate this business, what you're getting is a shortcut to success. Because in starting any business from scratch, what you're really doing is you're just taking a hypothesis of what you think will be a good business, and you execute it on that hypothesis, and you throw ideas against the wall until they stick. You're like, hey, let me charge for this. Let me try this. Let me service that. Let me try this. And hopefully over time, you start to see more things stick than less. And that leads to revenue generation. When you buy a franchise, you're going to learn years of experience and learning of what to do and what not to do to generate revenue quickly and efficient. Basically, you're getting a cheat sheet on how to make money. That's the bottom line, why franchises were created and the theory behind it's a proven model, which is fantastic.
Everything you've said, people, even though they only think of McDonald's in this sense, they still have that sense that, wow, this is a proven thing. It
Yes.
works. It's packaged for you already to get
Yes.
success. Our audience, which is early entrepreneurs, a lot of times you are in that phase where you have an idea, you try it out, you're failing fast.
Yep,
And,
that's right.
but it's not for everyone.
Yep.
And this is an alternative. Let me ask you this, because you chose a franchise that was sport related. And a lot of
Yes.
people have no idea that even such franchises exist. How do
Yeah.
you find different kinds of franchises to learn more about
A
that?
real key role that I play, I'm a franchise consultant. That's what I do. And what does that mean? I educate people about the franchise model, generally speaking, like I just described a little bit, and I go much deeper. I talk about how long is the license term? How much does it cost? What kind of support do I get? What kind of training do I get? What's the growth curve? What's the launch phase? What are steps necessary to get even started, right? We go through all the basics. What do I do when I want to sell it? What if it doesn't do well? All these questions about franchising in general. I spend a lot of time with my clients educating them about franchising so that they have an understanding of it. For example, one of the key things people have a misunderstanding about in franchising is royalties. Royalties are a percentage of your gross that the franchisor charges you to operate that business, right? And that's how they make money. Now, most people are like, oh my gosh, you can never make money if they take all your profits with royalty. Royalties are only as low as 3 to maybe as high as 12%, but the average is about 5%. And what that pays for, of course, is the franchisor's profit, but it also goes towards paying for resources at the corporate office that come back to you as support services. Every franchise operation has a corporate office that's staffed by a VP of marketing, VP of sales, VP of operations. And all these people are specialists within their service requirement, and they're a resource to franchisees from the very beginning. They train you, they coach you, they're always present. In a franchise, you're never alone. You have an entire corporate office whose job is every day to wake up and make you successful. That is all they do. And so that's another benefit. But most people have this negative perception of royalties. It's only 5%. And if you think about most businesses, they may have a profit margin of 15 to 30%, even if you're not in a franchise. Franchise delivers the same kind of profit margin, sometimes even higher. You're still getting 15 to 40%, 30%. And that's even with the 5% royalty coming off. It's considered like another cost of doing business. Like you wouldn't complain about payroll, or maybe you would, but it's expected. You have to pay employees, you have to pay insurance, you have to pay taxes, you have to pay a lease, you have to pay for vehicles, you have to pay for gas, or what you call petrol. I mean, you got to pay for all that stuff. That's the cost of doing business. 5% off the top also pays for the franchisor support that you're getting. And you're getting even call centers, you're getting marketing strategy, you're getting marketing materials, you're getting all that information and support as part of that. That's part of it. Now, the other part of what I do as a franchise consultant is I educate people about the vast variety of franchises available. Since 1963, which is a long time ago, that's when McDonald's was born. The first probably 2 decades of franchising was nothing but fast food, because people were like, oh, franchising is about fast food. So let's do chicken, let's do sandwiches, let's do everything in the world. And still proliferating. There's almost every type of food franchise, but it expanded to almost every other category. Now, when I consult with people, what's beautiful about franchising in the modern term is that I have nearly 1,000 businesses in my portfolio across every category, from fitness to healthcare to senior care, pet care, children's enrichment, education, home improvement, property like improvement, like roofing, painting, custom closets. I mean, everything you can think of, we can do. Even painting. There's a painting business that does not just like house painting, but art painting, like experiential, natural soap business. So if you want to buy natural, organic, and plant-based soaps, we have that. It's just really exciting for people to learn and understand, wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that even exists. And that's the other liberating part. In my case, I spent 25 years in marketing. If I wanted to get into technology or finance, guess what? Any corporate recruiter that looked at my resume would be, you don't qualify. Why are you wasting my time? After 25 years in one industry, which is the majority of in the professional world, you get pigeonholed into only one thing. There's no way for me to diversify. I can't really start a new career. I have 25 years experience. What am I going to do? I can't get into finance. I can't get into technology. They're not going to hire someone that's entry level, at least with the sort of money I want to make. In franchising, you can actually do anything you want. As a 40-year-old, 50-year-old who wants to reinvent themselves, basically in franchising, all you have to ask yourself is, what do I want to do when I grow up? Do I want to get into healthcare? Do I want to get into fitness? Even though I feel I'm relatively fit for my age, I'm not fit enough to really be an instructor. My instructors are 20, 30 years old, super bubbly, super energetic, and people don't want to pay to see me on that bike, right? Owning a fitness studio doesn't mean I have to work in it. It means I own it and operate it. When you buy a business, you're not buying a job. That's a huge mindset shift for people, because when you take a job, your productivity results in, hey, your carrot, you get a paycheck. You don't do this, you don't get your carrot. For me, I don't need to teach a class to make money for my studio. My instructors teach the class. I don't need to open the front doors to let my members in. My responsibility is to hire the right people, conduct marketing to generate leads, motivate my employees, train them to do their job, and then reward them for it with a paycheck, of course. But at the end of the day, really owning a business means your employees are making the money for you. So those are all very liberating components of why go from corporate to business ownership. And how do I do that with no experience? Because the main training that I got when I bought my franchise was how to be an owner. It wasn't to be a bike instructor. It wasn't to be a front desk person to greet and clean, but it was, what are your key responsibilities as an owner, which is staffing with the right people, right? Paying the right amount based on your business model, advertising to generate demand and capture customers, converting those customers to members, and rinse and repeat every single month. And that's what I do. It takes me 5 to 6 hours a week. And I make about $150,000 a year in profit. There's no way to make that kind of money in corporate for that few hours. They're like, oh, 5 hours. Hey, you make $50.
Hey, small business family, quick pause here. If you've been listening and thinking, I need help getting clear on my message and how to actually market this amazing thing I've created, I've made something just for you. It's called the Clarity Intensive, and it's 2 focused sessions, one-on-one, where we untangle your ideas, map out your next best move, and build a foundation for real business momentum. If you're done thinking what's the right thing to do, and you're ready for a customized strategy that fits you, this is for you. You'll find the link in the show notes, or you can visit the website www.reinventingperspectives.com/shop, and you'll see our Clarity Intensive one-to-one marketing coaching. Let's get back to the show. I definitely see why this model really works. If you've reached a certain level in your career, for you to take yourself back to entry level in order to do something else and try to figure things out from the bottom, because things have changed and the way things are done are constantly changing. So to take yourself back to entry level and start trying to figure things out, especially now in this high-tech world where you find the young entrepreneur millionaires, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, people who are savvy about technology and how to use technology. Wow, this is really interesting. Naturally, I see what is good about the franchise, but looking at the pros and the cons of owning a franchise, maybe you can speak to that so that as you're thinking through, is this the right option for you?
Yes.
What also should you think about in terms of the downside?
There are a couple of things. One is, I think the most important, again, part of my role is helping people think through the option and helping decipher what they're good at, what they enjoy, to pick the right business. There's 3 characteristics that I always challenge people to think about in picking the right business. In addition to people saying, oh, I don't want to do McDonald's, right? That's 99% of people coming thinking fast food. The first thing I say when, do you know what business you want? I want a business that's going to make me millions of dollars. That's the first thing they say. I just want a business to make me the most money. And I usually stop it right there. I'm like, that's not enough. I said, money is why we're all in it. You don't have to tell me that's a fact, is that I'm here to make money. Right? Either replace my salary, exceed my salary. That is the number one factor. Economic. And economics are 2 things. One, is it a business you can afford to buy? And is it a business that can make you the money you want to make? Not every franchise can make the same amount of money. The model, they're all different. So it's a combination of both. Is it a business I can afford, and can it make me money that I want to make? For example, a McDonald's, I think, is selling for $4.5 million to buy a McDonald's. You pretty much got to be a millionaire already to buy one. Really, it's about the rich perpetuating their wealth. But I have businesses that are as cheap as $75,000. There's a full range. There's a broad range of investment. Key is finding out what can you afford, because running out of money is the fastest way to go out of business. Okay. Number 1 is economics. Number 2 is conviction. You got to believe in what you do, period. For example, I'm not a smoker, so no offense to anyone who loves smoking, but my father was a chain smoker. I saw him get sick from it. I just learned. I never liked it. Now, if someone told me I can make $1 million a month selling cigarettes and vape, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it with a straight face. I couldn't do it without guilt. I couldn't do it without compromising my own integrity, because someone would come in the store and say, hey, buy some menthols. Hey, try this cherry flavored vape. This is fantastic. Hey, buy some for your kids. Here, buy more. I couldn't do that. Okay. Now, can I help somebody walk in my fitness studio and say, hey, I got to lose 100 pounds, otherwise I'm going to die? I'm like, of course, let's go. And this is how indoor cycling can help you do that. I believe in it. I can talk about it from the heart and believe in it. I don't have to compromise myself. So conviction is number 2. Number 3 is passion. At the end of the day, it's going to be hard work. So as much as franchising sounds great, it's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to anybody and say, oh, it's free money. Trucks are going to come rolling up in your door with money, and all you got to do is count it. Before those trucks show up at your front door with the money, you got to put in lots of work. And without passion, you're not going to have the perseverance to put up with the challenges to be successful, because you're going to give up before that. So if it's just the money and the money doesn't come, guess what? You're going to quit. Quitting isn't quitting on your boss, it's quitting on yourself, which leads me to the next fact. To be successful in a small business, it's not for everybody. It's for people who are self-motivated and driven. And what that means is if you have a hard time waking up and getting to your job without a boss yelling at you and telling you you need to be here and you're late and next time you're late, you're going to be fired. Those kind of people shouldn't own a business, because if you're not going to wake up to show up, guess what? You're just disappointing yourself. You need to show up every day. You need to show up early, on time, awake, and ready to go, ready to deal with anything. Okay. You have to have a mindset of abundance and optimism, because if you're a pessimist and you think the world's going to end, the minute you run into a problem, you're going to shut down. You can't let barriers and challenges stop you, because in running your own business, there's problems every day. There was a blackout like a couple of weeks ago. All the power went out. The world's ending. You got to deal with those kind of things. There's a ceiling leak. There was this. An instructor got sick. I mean, you're always dealing with something. And you got to find ways to overcome that, right? There's solutions, there's methodologies, but it's about you being available and being ready to deal with it, okay? The franchisors that help build a team around you. At the end of the day, it's your business and you got to show up.
Irving, talk me through how you started out as a franchisee, because I think people will be thinking, am I looking for the location? Are they telling me? What am I doing?
I was clueless. I have no idea about business ownership. I had never signed a commercial lease. When you franchise, they will handhold you and guide you through the entire process. They will do demographic analysis to determine, is your market viable? They will help you hire a real estate broker to find a location that meets the requirements of that business. They'll assess it. They'll do architectural drawings to make sure that it's designed properly. They will help you hire a general contractor and evaluate bids to make sure you don't get robbed by someone who's overcharging or someone who's missed things on the estimate because I didn't know what to look for. So they will review all of that for me. Even they'll help me negotiate the lease. They'll say, hey, this is an acceptable amount to pay because it has to fit within the business model. And they're like, oh, that's way overpriced. This is the right amount. These are the concessions you should try to negotiate. They literally will help you through every single stage of the process. It is almost like paint by numbers. You might say, oh my gosh, I got to paint the Mona Lisa. Priscilla, here's some paint, here's a brush, paint the Mona. And you're like, what? I'm not an artist. But in a small business with a franchise, you can say, okay, it's like paint by numbers. In box 1, pink. In box 2, do green. Box 3, do blue. At the end of the day, you step back and you're like, man, I built a studio. This is amazing. But they help you every step of the way. That's not just in the beginning. That's all the way through to the end when you sell it. They'll even help you sell a business. That's the beauty of a franchise. They're there to coach you through every life phase, every challenge, every requirement.
You spoke about a license.
So when you buy a franchise, you're buying the right to own that business, and you pay a franchise fee. Franchise fee or a one-time fee. And it is almost like a licensing fee is potentially how you can describe it, but it's called a franchise fee. And what it buys you is the right to own that business for 10 years. The average term is 10 years. Some are 7, some are 5, some are 20. The average is about 10 years. And during that 10 years, your obligation is to run and operate that business. You have the right to sell that business at any time in those 10 years. It's yours. Most franchises are exclusive to you. Your territory, your geography. Like I'm in Dallas, Texas, my area that I run my studio, only I can own that area within that business model. They make sure that there's no competition from within your franchise.
Okay.
So, which means that also because there's scarcity, because there's exclusivity, once every part of Dallas is sold, the only way to buy it is to buy it from an owner. Scarcity improves value. If someone wants to buy the business that I own and they love it, guess what? They got to buy it from me because I'm the only one who can own it. That's the beauty of selling a business as well, is once you've grown it and you go to sell it because it's exclusive to me, they have to come to me to buy it. Usually selling a franchise is not that hard to do if it's doing well.
All new information to me. Everybody knows Beyond McDonald's because of you,
That's
Irving,
right.
today.
Oh,
So
good. Yay.
thank you so much for that. Now, I know someone who may be listening, may be thinking about the other side of this, where they say, if I build a business, and in my mind, I thought this also could be a franchise.
Yeah, which is fantastic, right? So the reason why a company may want to franchise is that they don't have the financial means and resources to grow. I'm in the United States across the entire country. And yeah, I can maybe start 3 or 4 of them and run them efficiently. And it can make me a good amount of money. But imagine if I got 5% of 500 other people operating their own business around the whole country. That's a lot more revenue. Now I can still run my 4 or 5, but adding on top of that, royalties from 500 other people who are now running the business, ideally successfully, which is why I create the operation to do that. What does it take to start and create your own franchise? In the US, it's a federally regulated industry. There's a legal document you need to create called the franchise disclosure document. It's almost like a business prospectus. It's about 200 pages long. It gets into the entire history, every fee, every cost of operations listed, historical earnings are listed. So any lawsuits have to be reported. All the number of franchisees and who they are need to be reported. Anyone who failed needs to be reported. Basically, that's also great to talk about because that is partly the disclosure process that's required by law, that they need to educate you about the history of this company. And to buy a business, you have to get that disclosure. You have to get that as part of the evaluation process. There's no such thing as a hidden fee in franchise because it all has to be documented. The only reason why it was hidden because you didn't bother to read about it, right? You get proven revenue because they have to report revenue. They have all the fees listed. What's it cost? What's it require? What are your responsibilities? They even have a list of failed franchisees. If you open up the FDD and it has more failures than successes, guess what? You should run the other way, right? It reduces the risk of buying a bad business or a business that may be too expensive for you or something that requires something you don't want to do. It's all disclosed. As a franchise, or that's so the two terms are franchisee, that's someone who buys a franchise and operates it, right? That's a franchisee. A franchisor is the parent company that facilitates and helps franchisees to operate. The responsibility for a franchisor is they publish this document and they have to revise it every year. They have to update it with current information. That's required by law in the US. Then they need to create an infrastructure. If you think about what I described, the benefits are what you need to deliver on, which means you need a staff of experts who are going to train and assist people who have no clue about franchise ownership, business ownership in that category. And your job is to have that team make them experts. You need to create that. That's what I'm paying for. And it costs money, right? It takes time and investment to create a staff. Now, if you've owned a business and have maybe 3 of them before you go to franchise, of course, you're going to have very smart employees who've been with you. Most likely those people become executives within your franchise. And you have someone who's been operating for a long time. You have a CFO, you may have some marketing people. Well, you repurpose those people to become broader resources. Also in terms of operating systems, billing systems, booking systems, scheduling systems, all that is what you're buying. Okay. Because they tend to be small business advantages. For example, if I'm competing against a mom and pop cleaner, and that's a lady with a mop and a broom, right? Or a plumber who has a wrench in the truck. What you end up is someone saying, oh yeah, I'll be there at 8:00 tomorrow morning. And then they don't show up. They call you 2 hours later, say, oh, I'm sorry. I got caught up on a job. I couldn't make it to your house. And while I'm sitting here waiting, where are you? In a franchise business, the way it works is much more professional. You'll book an appointment and it'll say next Thursday, 8:00. And you'll get an appointment notice saying, hey, Priscilla, you're booked for 8:00 Thursday morning, 30 minutes earlier. Hey, Priscilla, Joe's on his way. He'll be there in 30 minutes. You can track his vehicle. And look, he's approaching your house now. So you're going to have information, communication, confirmation, which is what we like as consumers. We don't like being kept in the dark. We don't like surprises. Hey, we quoted you $100. Guess what? Here's a bill for $100. It's not going to be, oh yeah, I told you it was 100, but really it's 150. But you can't operate a business unprofessionally, which a lot of mom and pops do. In a franchise business, same thing with the hamburger automation. You want to have that same hamburger that I had in Sydney that I did in Dallas, Texas. And the only way to do that is if you run it and operate it with systems and methodologies that are consistent, right? So you got to create operating systems to deliver those services with consistency because that's what you're buying. I have to admit that I do Starbucks coffee. It's reliable. And so when I'm internationally flying in business, I'll look for Starbucks. Yeah, I like trying local foods and stuff. But usually my morning coffee, I don't want to mess with them. That's what I drink to wake up. That's what I enjoy. That's my routine. And I love it that I can get Starbucks almost anywhere at almost any international airport. That's what you're buying. If I bought Starbucks and it tasted different, that's not the point of a franchise. The point of a franchise is delivering consistency of product and quality and service so that I know what I'm getting every time I go into one, because ideally I love it. That's the whole idea.
Thank you so much, Irving, for unpacking that for us. Now, to someone who's thinking, Irving, I'm not financially ready to go into a franchise,
Yes.
but maybe I would like to read about it.
There are a couple of my favorites. There's one called the E-Myth. And the E-Myth is about business ownership. What's it take to be successful? I always recommend my clients read that book before they start their own business. It helps them understand best practices, what the right mindset is, and things like that.
To the audiences listening, if you'd like to connect with Irving and learn more about franchises, how to become a franchise owner, what to consider, what to research, or you need someone who's an expert to talk you through this, I'm going to link at the bottom so that you can book a call with Irving Chung. Irving, thank you so much. This has been an awesome conversation, and I think it's going to get people thinking differently about business ownership. Thank you.
If you want to learn specifically about franchising, definitely go to my website, FranGuidance.com. And in the learning section, there's information, and I post a monthly blog there.
Wonderful. Please do use that resource, and it's important to know what's out there so you can make the best decision on how to go forward as an entrepreneur. Thank you, Irving.
Thank you.